Hello, friends. Hi. How hope everybody's doing good. So it's been a while, so I thought we've discussed the different market actions and all. So I thought today is an interesting day to put thing out in terms of because we had a gap up in the markets here in both Nifty and Bank Nifty, and then we had a lot of two-way action, big moves. So that way it would be good to analyze and see what was the story behind in terms of order flow activity, etc. Okay. So this was the move today in general. If you see, I think Bank Nifty, I'll just analyze Bank Nifty. So there's a massive gap up, and then there was this big candle at the open. Market came back, took out the highs, and again came back and closed around the low with a minor sort of a pullback, right? That was overall price action story. Okay. Now, what was the order flow clues or what are the order flow things that could have been, detected, and what are the patterns that we did detect during our discussions in the live market sessions itself? Okay. I'll quickly go through them. So one thing is we had this, huge buying impulse at the open. If you see 66, 67K deltas coming in. So these buying typically what would happen is in case of a gap up, there would be guys who would want to long and take advantage of a move up further, basically a sort of a continuation. Okay. And at the same time, there will be limit sellers at different levels, typically passive sellers who would be existing. If you see market, had a previous stop around the same area, so there will be passive sellers definitely around the same levels, who would be interested to come back and execute at those levels, right? So once this was formed, we identified this as a potential, resistance zone for the move, essentially. And then market started drifting lower when they were not able to take out. How do you know that? If you see subsequent delta, there was nothing much. There was one attempt here, but again that failed. So there was subsequent no strong buy side delta coming in any of these levels. Okay, which essentially means that the buyers were not trying to find much strength, and then these guys will give up once these recent low broke, and that is what happened. Once these low broke, these guys will typically give up, right? That's what happened. Okay. And then when markets did roll down, we also discussed that this area being a potential support again. How do you see? You have to find confluences between market levels and everything else. So if you see there was a distinct high volume zone here to here essentially. So we are looking at some sort of a support here, around this area, and this was again triggered with the order flow activity. If you see a lot of move down where your delta sort of went from plus 47 to minus 30, and ranges, which is a 70 80K shift, and then the price was not really moving much, right? The price kept on being sort of from these lows, the price did not do much, and there was clearly a lot of absorption. So we identified this as a potential support zone. Okay. And then we discussed, I think, that prices could rotate back up, and which is what it did here. Okay. The whole thing about see order flow or anything else is to uh, you know try to understand the story that the market has to tell, try to understand or interpret the market information, understand where the players are interested, and then take a reasonably probability based guess. Eventually everything is a probability based guess based on the information you're looking at, open interest, price action, or anything. But we are trying to get behind the price action and see what is the tone, what the market participants are trying to do again. So if you think of it, there are two levels where the participants clearly were sort of interested. One, of course, here when they stop the upside move, here when they stop the downside move, right? So once this stopped, then again follow through buying started coming in into the market, right? And the typical destination of that buying would be around these levels, which is where prices went back up to. Now what happened there again? If you see, so once prices went back up to these levels, what happened again there is there was a false break outside this level, right? There was a false break outside this level. So that is where it became tricky, because if you see, a lot of players will typically have a buy above this high, or buy above the recent highs and things like that, or buy above 39 500 600 levels. Okay. And again you try to interpret delta and price shift. Again, that's what I say, don't look for a specific delta number and things like that, because that's bullshit. So what you look for is typically what is the delta and price action trying to do. Okay. Again, if you see here, I think between this candle 59K and right, and this can sorry, this one 26K, right, 26K. Essentially, if you see delta started shifting a lot higher, delta started shifting a lot higher, and again prices really paused there. Not much trying to do prices were not trying to do much basically, despite a lot of delta shift, again absorption, and prices started rolling back in, right, again. So again, so all this buying was, if you see, easy, the way to easily see buying is the delta bars, which gives you a very visual idea of what market is trying to do. So all this buying could not really push prices up, and then prices started rotating down. This is where I think there was a bit of a trick where prices did rotate down mid ranges between this and this support, and started pulling back. In an ideal scenario, once this happens, you would look for a continuation on the upside. If the pullback fails, you would generally look for a continuation on the upside, right? Generally there would not be multiple attempts trying to do the same thing all over again. But here, there's a clear order flow information coming in once again when this market prices broke up. Okay, so delta moved from 49K to 155K, basically becoming almost 3x within two candles, right? And what happened? Prices, almost moved from what, 39,580 to, if you see the close of this candle, hardly 640. So 40 50 point, delta, uh, a 40-50 point move for this kind of a 3x delta, while it took so much of delta to just took net 50K delta to bring prices up to these levels, right? Think of it from that point of view, that at 50K delta prices here, and and then from here on, uh, another 100K delta price just moved only this much, right? Okay, so this was a clear sign that there was large limit selling present at these levels. We'll come back to these levels for sure, in next few sessions when we discuss again prices trash testing this level. Because if you see, this is the second time, what has happened is 39,600 there, this time initiative selling came in, and again large limit selling came in here, where market action got stopped, right? So we have two consecutive levels of 39 600 550 600 where market action got paused by large limit selling. And then once this happened, what does it again infer? It typically says, okay, all the buyers push one time, two time, completely failed, right? This was a one time move where there was a lot of delta they got in here. Then there was this move where they got significantly high delta, they failed. So all these buyers now are, so if you think of it, all the large market buyers or etc. are now trapped at a 39 600-ish level, right? Okay, so these guys will immediately panic, or will immediately be worried once price start drifting lower, and that is what happened. Once price started drifting lower, it broke the VWAP. We went back and tested the day's lows, right? So again, I'm saying what we're trying to do is interpret the story behind this. Interpret, if I was just looking at price charts, I'll be a bit confused in terms of what it is happening. But this clearly gives you an idea of, there are buyers who got tried to trick the market up, pushed in a lot of buy orders, but got trapped, and eventually ended up becoming a false breakout play. And you confirm that false breakout play with a delta and price shift, and see, okay, delta moved significantly, price did not move significantly, so large absorptions coming in at these levels, and then you look for a downside move. Okay, so we try and interpret this information, like essentially read this, we discuss this, and that's where you try to get behind the charts and understand the story of the market. So it's all about understanding the narrative, understanding what is trying to happen, and then making more sense of the information. That's all, guys. Okay, and that's the beauty, I think, of trading, itself also, where there's a new narrative coming in every day. The narrative, you try to find the pattern behind those narratives, and then build a trading scenario, or build a plan in terms of, okay, now once this has happened, the next thing that can happen is market can traverse all through the other side of the value zone, and probably even to the low of the day, and that's what happened, right? Okay, so going forward, next session, I think we'll look for 39 300 ish level. There's a lot of tops here. and there's a clear value zone below it. Okay, so if we are able to defend 300, I think then we look for an upside continuation and pullback. If we start getting a small close below 300 a price, maybe a 5 minute 10 minute of candle below 300, then chances are that price will rotate back to 100 and even to the other side 38 800 900 levels. Okay, so 300 roughly odd would be a good reference when we come back on the next session and see how prices behave around that level. Okay, have a good weekend. Enjoy. Thank you.